Bizarre Brain Comics. Hello, my comic book friends, and welcome to Bizarre Brain Comics. I am Gary, your host. And this is where I like to take a look at some older comics, talk a little bit about the characters and creators, and examine the stories and the art. And this time, I want to take a look at this underground comic, Fight Girl. Correction, Girl Fight. It's hard to tell. Girl Fight Comics number 2 from 1974. This is by, the whole thing is by Trina Robbins and published by the Print Mint. Now, I've talked about Trina Robbins several times before. I love her work. And she was a pioneer in underground comics, and especially pioneering underground comics by women. She did Girl Fight, and as far as I can tell, there were only 2 issues. I didn't find any reference to any more. If there are any more and you know about them, let me know. And I think this is the only issue that I've got. And so this is from 1974. And then, so I got some pictures of some lovely ladies here. And you might wonder, well, why do I have a drawing of Vampirella right next to it? Well, it's because several years before she did Girl Fight comics, Trina Robbins was I think she was a production artist working for Warren Publishing. And she was instrumental in the creation of Vampirella. She, while the character was actually created by Forrest J. Ackerman, she designed the character and the look of the character. But of course, when she initially drew Vampirella, her costume was not so skimpy. Of course, with the artists there, which are primarily men, I think, thereafter, her costume got skimpier and skimpier and skimpier. But initially, it covered a lot more, and it was just kind of split down the middle down here. And but Trina Robbins was instrumental in creating Vampirella. And she was a cartoonist, and she was instrumental in, as I said, pioneering comics by women, underground comics by women. She also put together women's comics, which I showed briefly before, with several other women. Now this one is all her work. And then, of course, she's done a lot in mainstream comics with Misty and California Girls, etc. She was the first woman to draw Wonder Woman comic books back in the 80s with a Wonder Woman miniseries from DC. And she has written several books about comics, about women in comics specifically. I reviewed one of her books here. She's done. She was really big into fashion and stuff like that. And she has published several books of paper dolls that she has drawn and designed. And let's see what else. And you can see on this cover, of course, it's kind of action, but this female figure and all these background female figures has the advantage over this male figure. But you get her sense of clothing. She has a very lovely style and stylization, I feel, and a strong sense of design, which you can see here both in the garments, the design on the shield, and in the background. Even down to the design of the clouds in the background, and you can see that is very nice sense of rhythm and loveliness. And just to let you know, in this book, it has a good portion of nudity, but it's not gratuitous and it's not graphic, and it's just primarily topless women living in the jungle. You know, it's not even as overt as, and you can barely tell because you don't barely see any nipple. It's not even as necessarily as graphic as some of what you may have seen in National Geographic. See, so Girl Fight number 2, 1974 by Trina Robbins. This is the first and, from what I understand, only printing. This is original price was 60 cents, and my copy later has a $2.50 sticker stuck on it, which may have been done by the distributor later, or a comic shop. But if I remember correctly, I'm not positive because I've had this like 30 years or something, over 30 years. I think I got this from Bud Plant, and they may have stuck a sticker, the price sticker on there. I don't know. And but it's the only printing, at least that I could find reference to. As is an early underground comic from female cartoonists, or a female cartoonist. She also produced women's comics, which I said, and author of Women on the Comics, and a century, the book I've got, I think it's A Century of Women in Comics, or A Century of Women Cartoonists. I can't remember the title. It's a really, really good one. She has done graphic novels. I want to do cover her graphic novel of the Silver Metal Lover and stuff. So we'll take a look in here. It's just some lovely stuff, and it's all, of course, as you might say, female and feminist. Now, Trina Robbins, she's still around, and she's like 85 years old now. And even when she was doing this, she had been married and a mother. And I've seen pictures, some photographs of her when she was young, and she was a little cutie. I mean, she wasn't a raving beauty. She was cute, very pretty and cute. And when many years ago, when I first saw some of the early photographs of her, I had a little bit of a crush on her. Okay, here we go. Oh, here's a prime example of what I was talking about. Some nudity, some design. You can see the lovely design work. And the first story is Montezuma's Revenge. It is an anthology. And in Mexico, there's this rock star who snatched one of his groupies. Says, "You want to come with me to Mexico?" And you go, "Sure, I'll come." And then he's a real tool. She didn't realize he was going to be such an a-hole, and he's a real tool to her, and to their guide. And they wind up in the jungle where they're going to be camping. Someone snatches her. See, and you can see it, just lovely line work. And she was a good artist even at the time, but you can see in her later work how much better her draftsmanship became. But her inking style, line work, and general stylization is pretty much the same. And so here the girl is snatched. Her name is Sunshine. And the name Sunshine keeps popping up in her stuff. And she's hippie girls. And she's snatched by a group of a bunch of Amazons, women warriors, and take her to their city. And again, you get to see the work in the design and the backgrounds. Give her a weapon, and she's supposed to fight this warrior woman. And she doesn't stand a chance. She's taken low. And then they all laugh at her. So they take her aside. She sees that they've captured men, and the women have total control over the men. The men are basically slaves, and sometimes love slaves. Take off. So they give her their garments, and over time teach her how to use the bow, and she learns the language and learns about their history, and then it briefly gives their history, how they were warrior women for at Mayan or Incan civilization city, and they took off when the conquistadors came just before the attack, because I'm not going to protect those men, and so the civilization was decimated, and they built their own, in which they ruled, and because they really resented the king, and so she's learned. Then she had to fight the warrior woman again, and this time she won. Then they take her and take her to where they have the cages of the men, and there is that rock star, Red, whatever his name is, and she's laughing at him and says, "I don't want him." What else you got? And that's a cute one. Here's Casey Starchild. This is science fiction. Sometime in the distant future, I think they said of 1999, 2000, year 2000, and there's rockets and spaceships going all over the solar system. And she's signing aboard this ship, and most of these ships are operated solely by women. So she becomes part of the crew, yada yada. Because it turns out she's looking for her long-lost father, who abandoned her and her mother when she was a child, and so she wants to find him and kill him. That while they're in space, they are attacked by space pirates, who are all men, and they are captured, and they're going to be sold into slavery, sex slavery, by the pirates on Mercury. And then she finds one old geezer who's supposed to be guarding them all, and she realizes that he is her father. Oh my gosh! And they manage to dupe him, get his gun away. They take over the ship, but in the fight to take over the ship, her sweet daddy, who was not so sweet, but he did sacrifice himself to protect her because he realized who she was. And then because of his sacrifice, she was saddened, but they got control of the ship and they won. And here's some really nice faces. Has some interesting page layouts and panel borders and stuff. And that's then another one. I'm not going to go into the details on this one. Is Cat, and again here you can really see the emphasis on the fashion and the stylization. But the fashion, the clothing, and everything. This is about a female private investigator, and again, that one's really, really nice. And again, there's just that one up there. Some just lovely, lovely stuff. And again, you see all the strong emphasis on patterns in the clothing and the overall design, and she solve that mystery. Then another one is Fox Hunt, and she's like a lady agent, a black lady agent. This is in the 70s, remember, and who's helping get dissidents out of the country of some Latin American dictatorial regime. And again, it's the same kind of lovely stuff. Again, it's just a really, really nice one there. And she helps. And it turns out that her contact is actually a double agent. And again, notice the strong design in the blanket that they're wearing, covered with, etc. And another just beautiful drawing. And then it has just a one-page thing, which is a 40s noir style mystery. And she ends it up on the inside back cover as A Visit with the Artist, which is just her Trina talking. And in each panel, she's wearing a different outfit. Now, this is leading into something from the future, is that each outfit that she is wearing says the outfit is thanks to, was designed and submitted by readers and or possibly friends of hers, which is what she something she probably took from some of the other comics, such as Katie Keene did that, and then later in her books with Misty and the California Girls, she did the same thing. She did it there too. So and here she is calling, "Mommy, I have to go potty." And she has to stop and go help. And then a real nice color illustration on the back cover. So that is really, really nice. I love Trina's work, and I commend her for her pioneering work in comic history and promoting underground and overground women artists. And I really like her work. And that's all I've got for you this time for Girl Fight Comics. Thank you for joining me. Please like, share, and subscribe. And let me know what you think of Trina's work here. Trina and her all of her little stories. Let me know in the comments below. And remember, comics are art.